having us today. Just want to thank the CMD community, which is us as well, and all the partners and families and contributors for making this happen. I remember going back to the very first one, we said it was only in a small room with a handful of us, and so look how much it's grown. And so really impressed. So maybe we want to give an update on Prothelia. Our entire company is focused on muscular dystrophies. And today my name is Rich Cloud. This is Brad. Who's going to be talking more about the science. He's a scientist and I'm the father. So there you have it. So I don't know how to name the president. So on the left, here's my family. Blessed to have most everybody here except for my father, the cat. And so, just talking a little bit about LAMA2 or American Deficient Congenital Muscular Dystrophy. Well, we know, right? We know that it's onset at birth. We understand that the floppy baby syndrome. We understand the diagnostic odyssey, which has really changed in the last 7 years. A lot of people don't know this, but Ashley was first diagnosed with SMA, type 1. We were told that she would not live past 2 years old. It's hard. Weakness, contractures, a lot of therapy focuses on physical therapy and trying to prevent contractures. Scoliosis often is apparent with these children. Respiratory issues, and a little bit of blood for respiratory. So we had a really good friendship with a doctor named Dr. Suzana. I pronounced that wrong. And then started her on positive ventilation using hospice when Ashley was 2. And that's had dramatic results for our child. So again, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. As my daughter will tell you, she has quite normal, if not stubborn, intellect and great cardiac function. And she's giving me a look down there to the back right now. So moving on. This right here is a slide that gets me really excited, right? LAMA2, from what we've seen, will be one of the most transformative therapies ever produced for MPC1A or LAMA2, right? And the proof is in the pudding. I'm not a scientist. I like to see with my own eyes. These mice that have the disease generally live to 10 weeks of age. This mouse, and they don't use their hind legs. They're very unsettled. They're they don't prove themselves very well. Have challenge feeding themselves, and they die within 10 weeks. True with LAMA2, we actually, my thanks to Dr. Dean Burton, who in his lab who did this work. This mouse not only lived to be a year, but this mouse is running around. These mice do not run around. This mouse is running around. They're doing the whole thing, feeding itself, grooming itself, give itself a part in the air, whatever, asking for some food. And this is a tremendous outcome. There's nothing else that I've seen. There's been no other video that I've seen of any other therapy for any of the muscular dystrophies that has this. And that's why we're excited about LAMA111. Right? Next slide. Thank you. So our update, we have recently received some seed funding from a Swedish-based VC company called HealthCap. They have funded hundreds of millions of dollars of startups over the last 30 to 40 years. And so we're very excited to bring a corpus of knowledge and expertise in this space that is very useful. We're going to scale manufacturing. So one of the issues with a very large protein therapy like LAMA2 is actually making it. So how do you make it? How do you make the scale? And how do you administer it? A couple of interesting things since the last time we met here is that we found that at the time, 2 years ago, we thought that 10 mg per kg would be the therapy. We now find that 1 mg per kg is the therapy. That's a 10-time reduction in cost of goods sold. VC companies and companies that want to invest, they like reduced costs a lot, I'll be telling you. And so we're very excited about that, the same therapeutic benefit. Brad is helping lead our preclinical and clinical plans and doing a great job of that with some of our collaborators. And then we're also looking at getting additional funding. The funding for the seed was pretty significant, but it wasn't $30 million. And so, which is required. Working with Cure CMD is absolutely critical. The CMDIR, tell your friends, neighbors, family, whatever. If you're not in the CMDIR, get in it. That is absolutely critical for what for bringing in investment and focus in this area, and that's globally. So it's great to have some folks from Brazil here representing your country. And then we talked about identification of patients. So the work that Cure CMD has done has been actually critical for us to move this forward. All right, so next slide, please. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this, and we only have a little bit of time, so I'm not going to hit on all this, but it does take a tribe or an army to bring a therapy to market, right? It's not just the industry, so pharma can't do it by itself, right? It's not just advocacy as well, right? And it's not just science or government. One of the things I want to touch on is that academia is famous for doing what academia does, and that is writing papers. They don't want to sign, they don't want to study stuff forever and ever, just get all the data, everything right, 100%. I'm a father, I don't have time for that. So we have to understand enough, make sure it's safe, make sure it's therapeutic, and then get it to kids, right? And help drive this forward. So I'm a very big, I know some people oppose that view, and so, but I'm a very big proponent of that, what's good enough, right? To help these children, help move this forward, okay? And then government. Government is absolutely key. What they do, I remember going down to the FDA with Anna Witowski sitting in front of the FDA saying, and they all sat down like a bunch of bureaucrats, and I said, are we here on the same team, guys? I mean, and Anna will tell you, this was a great story. Is everybody on the same team? And the guy, the top guy says, yeah, we are, and everybody kind of settled down a little bit. I said, okay, let's get to work. And we actually got working with these guys, I think, quicker than anybody in the entire world, here in the United States because of that. So it does take everybody working together. And then the NIH has been absolutely critical, so my hat's off to Carson Bauman, Dr. Bullock here for working and doing the toughest, the probably the most tireless people I've ever met in my entire planet, in my entire time on this planet, is the folks over at NIH running this neuromuscular program. So my hat's off to you. All right, so just got to the next slide. So last but not least, we want to thank everyone that's been helping us through this process, from Brad, who has dedicated his entire career to muscular dystrophy, to our consultants who are experts in this space, as well as our science advisory board. You'll see a lot of common names there as well. And then obviously everyone across the board. So I know my time's about up, but I'm going to hand this over to Brad. He'll go into a little bit more science.
Thanks, Rich. So all the work that I'm going to talk about today has been published. So I'm not going to go into that. It's a lot of heavy-duty science. I really want to make this presentation accessible to everyone so you understand what the drug does. Thanks, Rich. So just a brief agenda. We're going to talk about how laminin works, what this could mean for patients, what are our next steps as a company, and finally, how do we work together to discuss what Rich. Please, if you don't mind, it'd be great.
Okay, you got it?
There's some animation, so you got it. Okay, great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. So how does laminin work? So you want to the next slide if you don't mind. So before I do that, I just want to give you a brief tutorial on muscle anatomy and function, because it's really important for you guys to understand where this drug is working and why it's working. So this is a muscle, as you can see, a collection of many individual muscle fibers. And what you're seeing is a giant muscle is one individual muscle fiber. And this is the contractile unit. This allows your muscles to do this. Now, one individual muscle fiber is somewhat strong, but it's the collection of all the muscle fibers together that really give you the strength to work together, be stronger together, if you will. And for the disease we're talking about today, indeed many other muscular dystrophies, the defect is right around this area right here. This is the membrane that surrounds the muscle fiber. And if you look to the right, you blow this up a little bit. And what you see here is a cartoon of many different molecules. And there are defects in all these molecules that lead to many different forms of muscular dystrophy. But for the purposes of our talk today, we're going to be talking about the green molecules called laminin. These laminin molecules are outside of the cell. Laminin molecules, if you will, are the glue that hold all these individual muscle fibers together. If they don't hold themselves together, they rip themselves apart. And that's what we need to fix. So go ahead, next slide, please. Thank you. So, a particular laminin is important in muscle. There are about 15 different isoforms of laminin that your body makes. Laminin 211 is the one that's important for muscle. Next slide. And here's what it looks like. It's a cross-shaped structure. You have the alpha-2 chain in yellow, the beta-1 chain in blue, and the gamma-1 chain in green. It comes together as a coiled coil. This is where the complexity comes from. This is where the manufacturing challenge was, getting this molecule of such complexity produced. But if we talk about how this molecule is made naturally in muscle, next slide please, next animation. Muscles actually secrete this onto the surface of the muscle fibers. And one critical function that has to take place is it has to bind these muscle receptors. So it's held in place onto the muscle. It has to be held in place. Please continue through the animation. As more Laminin-2s are developed, these molecules here start to hold hands. It's called polymerization. Two critical facets of laminins that have to occur. Polymerization and cell adhesion. This is what normal unaffected muscle looks like. Next slide. So to provide a strong, stable muscle that you need with an excellent regeneration capacity. So what happens in LAMA2 deficiency? You're missing the alpha-2 chain, but what the body does, it tries to compensate by making a defective chain, alpha-4. And as you can see, its head's cut off. It doesn't work. So we go to the animation. Here in a LAMA2 deficient muscle, you have receptors that don't bind laminin 411, so they can't hold it down. As more laminins are produced, again, the muscles try to compensate. Again, there's no hand-holding of all three chains. There's no polymerization. This laminin is completely defective in this muscle. So we have to change this. And if you continue, in LAMA2 deficiency, you have weak, unstable muscle and incomplete muscle regeneration. So two things that have to be changed in MBC1A. One, you have to heal existing muscles, but also you need to rescue the defect in regeneration. As was discussed earlier, your body has stem cells, your muscles have stem cells in them that allow them to regenerate. Without laminin 2 and 1, those stem cells do not respond properly and do not regenerate. So it's two problems. You need to fix existing muscles, but also rescue regeneration. Next slide, please. So laminin 11, this is the drug we're working on. I just want to show you a comparison between laminin 2 and 1, which is missing in laminin 2 deficiency, and our drug, laminin 111. And as you can see, the only difference is the alpha-1 chain versus the alpha-2 chain. Continue. They're functionally the most similar. They're actually functionally identical. They share the beta-1 and gamma-1 chains. But importantly, they have identical binding properties to the muscle receptors. So again, they polymerize and they hold themselves to the muscle. So, Brad, why not just get back laminin 2 and 1? It's the missing protein. Seems simple enough. But all your patients have never seen this alpha-2 chain before, ever. So they will view it as an infection. They'll view it as a foreign entity, and they'll try to eliminate it. This is why we're not using it. But as we said, this molecule has exact same functions as this molecule. But this molecule is found in your kidney right now. It's found in every single human. So patients will not respond to it by an immune response or ignore it. And this is why we're using laminin 11. Laminin 11 is going to be used in these patients every 2 weeks, perhaps every month, for the rest of their lives. And we cannot have an immune response neutralizing the effect of the drug. This is why it's so important that we use this molecule. Next slide, please. So again, just to reconsider what we're doing here. This is a LAMA2 deficient muscle with defective laminin 411 on it. Please go through the animation. Laminin 11, again, it's just a different isoform of laminin. It rebuilds the muscle surface, comes in, forms these connections to the muscle receptors, forms the polymerization among all the entities, and is a perfect replacement for the molecule for the missing laminin 2 and 1. Again, stronger, stable muscle, but importantly, rescued muscle regeneration. So this is how laminin 11 works. It's a perfect protein replacement. You get all the benefits of the missing laminin 2 and 1, but without the immune response. This looks great. Next slide, please. And this just summarizes everything we're talking about today. From normal unaffected to affected treated with laminin 111. Next slide, please. And this, I want to go deep into this slide because we're running out of time. I just want to say that we can show that through staining, if we deliver laminin 111, it gets around all muscle fibers. This is an important target engagement study. We can show that the drug we deliver to these mice actually gets to the site of action. And importantly, a single dose lasts at least a month, which is great. Please continue. So let's move on. What did this mean for patients? As we've been discussing earlier, the natural history of young patients is very important. So we want to be able to treat everyone, but in terms of their age and their state of disease, it's going to determine how well they respond to the drug. So if we can treat infants, they'll certainly meet their motor milestones. Walking, crawling, feeding, swallowing, chewing, kicking, all the things that a normal child would do. Laminin 11, treated very young, at a very young age, should help these kids be able to motor milestones. However, children, that are currently in wheelchair or non-ambulatory, they may need some of these milestones with assistance. So this goes back to the question of reversibility. We just don't know if it's going to be reversible or not, or whether we're halting it. We won't know until we get to the clinic. But that's the hope. Adults with some residual LAMA2 in their muscles will certainly respond very nicely to the drug. So all patients will respond to LAMA11, but certainly the course and stage of the disease is going to be important in how they respond. Next slide, please. So what are the next steps? And Rich highlighted this previously. We have to scale manufacturing of LAMA11. Manufacturing has always been the challenge for this company. And over the last year, we had a major breakthrough producing a molecule. We can now produce it, we can now purify it to 99% purity, which is fantastic. But as we discussed, for every drug development program, you have to do dosing studies, you have to do safety studies, toxicology studies, and develop clinical plans. This takes time, and you have to produce the molecule before you can do the studies. And actually, and of course, this is a team effort. We need everyone to work together, so continuing to build up the team. Thank you. So again, how do we work together? Rich has highlighted this before. We really need to understand the natural history of newborns and infants. This, in my view, is our target population. We want to show that LAMA2 kids who almost will never walk, will walk after receiving this therapy. That's the goal. And we can only demonstrate that in infants. So that's the goal. Of course, we're going to treat older children as well, but the outcomes in those older children may be limited by virtue of the stage of the disease. And to get those newborns and infants into natural history studies, but also get them in treatment as quickly as possible, we need to expand newborn screening. This is where the government, regulators, and Prothelia can all work together to identify those patients as quickly as possible. A patient should have to wait until 3 years old to be diagnosed or to be treated. We should identify these patients as soon as they're born, so we maximize the clinical outcome. So I'm done. I thank you so much. I mean, just like Rich said, this is a team effort. We have to have clinicians, the government, regulators, patient advocacy, parents advocating for their children, all working together to put this drug forward. And I'm excited about all the different approaches for MDCOA. Obviously, I think this is the best. But I want this disease to be treated as soon as possible. And we all have to work together to make this happen. I want to thank everyone for your time today. And I'd like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to talk. I'll take any questions.
I think there's just one.
Okay, so I have a question. You said that it is a piece of the, basically, anatomy of the kidney that you're using. Now, have you used this on anyone with kidney issues?
So no, the reason I said it's in your kidney because it's naturally expressed. I guess I misspoke. We don't extract it from the kidney and purify it. We grow it in vats in culture, and then we deliver it. So, but we have not looked at it in any kidney patients and whether it goes to the kidney or so forth. I just meant to say that it's in the kidney to show you that every human expresses this molecule, and you will not mount any response to it.
And I have a question about how would you target newborns? Like you can test it and stuff like that, and you genetically test the parents or look for any signs in the parents?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in newborn screening, but typically there's a blood spot taken soon after birth. And the one biomarker that comes up that's common to most muscular dystrophies is high creatine kinase, high CK. Now, typically most patients would be identified as probably Duchenne or Pompe. But there's going to be 30 or 40 different forms of muscular dystrophy that could be also determined from that same blood spot. So the question for us is, when we get a high CK from a blood spot right after birth, yes, understand that it's a DMD kid, understand that it's an SMA kid, but we need to understand what type of muscular dystrophy it has immediately. So we can get that child in a natural history study for whatever disease it is, or we can get that child treated with a drug if it's available. So that process is already built in, but we just have to expand it into MDCOA and other muscular dystrophies.
I had to step out for a minute, so I apologize if I missed something, and my question is a little off base. But I think you mentioned here towards the end that one of your goals is to achieve the ability for these kids to achieve the ability to walk. Do you have a sense for what the baseline is for, today? Any data that gives you a sense for the baseline of who achieves the ability to walk today to sort of measure against it? Are you looking for a percentage increase above what that baseline is today, or can you just talk about thoughts around that?
Yeah, we need to understand the baseline. We understand when normal children walk. And Reagan, please chime in here if I make a mistake. So we understand when normal children walk. The question is, when would a MD-C1 egg or LAMA2 child walk if given a therapy? And I hope
Let me phrase it as affected, unaffected, because normal is normal. This room is all normal.
we're all normal, I apologize.
Affected. So, so for affected children without Mariston expression of the muscle biopsy or the mutations point towards probably a lack of proteins within the muscle biopsy done, typically don't achieve ambulation, but there are outliers. So we heard from the opinion that there are children that have complete Mariston absence that actually do walk. So we're trying to understand that basis also as well. So we're trying to learn from a clinical perspective and translation of what's going on. If they alter that, typically it's off of the mutations as well as the protein expression.
So in certain, I don't know the percentages, but it's my understanding that maybe less than 10% of LAMA2 negative patients walk.
It'll probably be, yeah, maybe even less than that.
Yeah.
Because typically most patients do not achieve independent ambulation with complete Mariston mutations.
Yeah, and in the Tony's latest paper, I think it was much lower, like 2% actually ever achieved ambulation.
Yeah.
Those that do achieve walking, do you attribute that to the physical PT and OT and just the normal course of therapies and that I'm sure we all get today, or do you find something in those that do walk that maybe differ or from those that don't?
So I think at the moment we don't really know. So actually we've been following this large family and with the same classification and the same biopsy. So one treats a complete deficiency and one of the family member is walking and she's still walking at the age of 13 or 12. So I think as a physician I would be very careful before saying we know the answer. So it's
And that's where we need to understand the natural history better. So we can structure the trial so we can make that determination. So are we increasing the fraction of patients that are walking to 20%, to 30%? And if so, is that even meaningful? So that's what we need to understand. That's why it's critical to understand neonatal infant natural history.
I think we something about pick up.
Thank you so much, everyone.